Hi, I'm Michael,
Hey, I'm Tom.
and we are the co-owners of Home Found Boise here in Idaho.
We had met out in LA. Michael was living in LA.
I was acting at the time. I was doing like commercial work, and actually the last commercial job I did before we moved to Boise was Colo Guard, which I still get residual checks for. I was a phone operator for the people who were trying to figure out how to put poop in the bag. We had just marinated on the idea of buying our own place, and then COVID hit. And everything stopped, and we weren't really sure what we were gonna do. I remember we were like going grocery shopping, and there was helicopters like flying above the grocery store,
In LA.
like with a microphone saying, "There's a guy with a gun. Get inside your houses." And we just kind of like looked at each other, and we were like, "What the fuck?"
So anyway, we started buying in LA. We visited Idaho, where Michael's from.
Yeah.
It was my first time to Idaho. And one of his friends from high school was like, "Well, what if you lived here?"
We moved here, and we literally slept on my mother's floor. Well, it's probably one of the hardest times of our lives.
We had no money, and SZA says, "Is it SZA?
Right.
You can't trust nobody you've been broke with."
That's right. You can't trust nobody you've ever been broke with.
But at that time, it was just the two of us. We didn't have much overhead. We wore all the hats for all the things. We used to do open houses together.
Tommy taught me everything he knows. He knew about open houses, everything. So I just followed his lead.
And now he's the open house master. She was the first client.
She was our first client. She was so cool. She was just this really sweet older lady, and she was out of prison, and she was ready to buy her next house. And she would come up to show up at the houses with flip-flops and a cigarette, and she'd just go through them and be like, "I don't know, Michael. I don't know about this one, but if you think so, I'll go ahead and buy it." And I remember one time we went to an open house, and she's like, "I like it." And she got in her car and got into reverse, and she ran over all the open house signs on her way out. She was still to this day.
We're like, this is real estate.
This is real
the
estate.
job.
This is one of my favorite clients.
5 categories, and they will naturally push into the next.
So now with Home Found, we've got 4 years under our belt. It has been a journey the whole time, but this last year was our best year yet. We helped almost 56 different types of people, individuals, families, close on homes this year. Did about 30 million in volume.
Okay, cool. So, any other questions?
There's a lot of real estate brands that are named after Joe Blow, and it's okay, uninspiring. So we want it to be, we've also always envisioned it as more than a real estate company.
Real estate is the vehicle through which we initiate change in our community. Creating a community through the transactions and through the people we meet in order to make lives better for everybody. We don't just find people houses, we find home.
Well, and there's a saying, being in community, that is unique to LGBTQ folks and really any underrepresented group. When you're in community, there's a sense of shared space and shared values and
Safety.
the collective, and in a world that's so polarized. That's what we're, community change makers by trade, and I don't think every realtor takes the job as seriously as we do.
You are introduced to people on an intimate level for a short amount of time, and those relationships last for a while. And I think there's such an advantage with that moment that you get with them through this really intense process that you can actually make people's lives better.
Well, yeah, of course, always on social media, it looks like the glitz and the glam, and the reality is behind the scenes. It's a lot of work.
So I'm wondering, what am I missing?
And you want to know the dark stuff?
Coming up on XOXO Boise.